Well, hello kids. It's your old pal Stevie Coyle. Webbing in as usual on Friday. This used to be a noon broadcast. It is no longer a noon broadcast since the governor goes online at noon to tell us what the hell's going on in the state. So I've pushed it back a little bit and just got through listening, and I realize it's 12:40. Sorry for being so late. And let me check here and make sure that the signal is actually going out. It's a little smoky again here today in Lafayette, California. Lafayette is the town that even people in the Bay Area forgot. It's due east and only slightly north of San Francisco, about 20 miles. The second town you come to as you go through the Caldecott Tunnel, which means nothing to most of you. But that's where we are. And we even have GPS coordinates and everything. Little numbers and dots and more numbers. That's Lafayette. Arguably best known for the Lafayette Reservoir, which has this odd-looking structure coming out of the middle of it that I'll show you pictures of sometime. Let me make sure the signal is going out here. And then I'll bounce it over to the Mighty Fine Guitars page as well. There it is. Look at that. All right. And sharing to a page. Wait for you folks to show up. Come on in. Come on in, everybody. Say hello. Oh, that's not going to go over this new Facebook interface. I'm not digging it so very much. But, tell you what, let me see what I can do here. Discard the post. Tap to change. Keep editing. Blah-de-blah. Sorry, folks. I'll be right with you. Can I do it this way? I cannot. All right. That's all I needed to know. 2 guitars to show you today. One of them that just came in the door. But another one that I've been meaning to show you and just haven't gotten around to yet, by Carmel Guitars. It's a dreadnought, which means it's a big-ass guitar. And it's kind of built to Martin dreadnought standards. Brazilian rosewood back and sides. And a redwood top. So you get, sonically, this guitar lives up to the promises the woods make. The top wood says, different set of overtones, perhaps not quite as much high-end, there's not as much sparkle, not quite as much sparkle or super high-end, that 4K stuff that spruce has, but a whole different set of overtones that make it really rich. So difficult to talk about sound, especially musical sounds, because there are 2 terms that apply natively, louder and softer. And everything else is kind of, an analogy, a metaphor, a simile, somehow a comparison to something else, a flavor, a smell, a sense, a feeling, a vibe. This is warm. So it doesn't have that real sibilant sparkle that spruce has. But it does have that rich, chocolatey sort of, see what I did? That rich, chocolatey sort of sound that Brazilian rosewood has. Lots of volume. And lots of sustain. Sometimes with a redwood top, because it's typically a softer wood. Although I suspect this might be Lucky Strike. This might be that stuff that's been some sort of sinker redwood, is my suspicion. It has that it has more sparkle than other redwoods. There's redwood that you make decks out of and patio furniture, and then there's guitar redwood. Denser, harder, especially if it's been underwater for decades, centuries, where it's picked up minerals, everything's gotten kind of mineralized. I'm guessing that's what this is. I have to check it out. I don't know that much about Carmel Guitars. Based in Watsonville, California. Really small shop run by one of the fellas is Eric Padilla, who used to work for Santa Cruz Guitars. And I've had a couple of Carmel Guitars come through, both just lovely. This is one, and the other one was an OM that was really gorgeous. And lots of cool sustain. The low note there, that low D, I'm tuned down to drop D. That low D just kind of picks up a bunch of the A notes and the D notes and the rest of that D chord. You can almost hear it swirling as it reinforces and then interferes with the interference and reinforcement pattern is really charming. Yeah. But where are my manners? Good heavens. Let me see what's going on in the chat here. Pardon me. Perhaps I'm assuming too much, but let's see what's happening. Discard the post. Yeah, I'll send it over later. Hi, Arden. Let's see who's here. This is fun. I feel like Miss Nancy. And I see XYZ and so-and-so. John Mooney, how are you? Bunny, nice to see you. And Michael, nice to see you. Chocolate is nice, isn't it? Yeah, I'd say so. Turn down my volumes here. John Mooney, how are you? I'm hearing myself just fine. And Dan Payne, hola, nice to see you. John Kressich, and three other people, nice to see you. I wonder who those three people are. I guess they're not going to tell me. Hey, Mike in Chicago, nice to see you. Stevie Coyle here in Lafayette, California. And there we go. Tell you what, I'll play a little. I'm going to keep things short today. So many people vying for your attention online. I'd hate to overstay my welcome by playing or talking too long. Born Irish, so I've got that going against me. But I'll try and keep things brief. A lovely dreadnought guitar by Carmel Guitars out of Watsonville, California, very close to Salinas, where I went to high school, and is still kind of the hometown of my heart. Big rumbly sound that's just so exciting. Real visceral hit. There's a lot of chest in this. There's a lot of chest voice in this guitar. But it's kind of tight. It's not runaway, you know? Some Brazilian backs just keep rolling, keep rolling. This one's manageable. The lights went out for a second there. That was spooky. Come on up. A surprising guitar. It's full of surprises. It does things that I'm not expecting it to do. Coming off of those treble strings onto the wound strings, I was expecting more dive. I was expecting more loss of high end. There wasn't that much. As much as I was expecting anyway. Yeah. Especially for a redwood top. Wow, big round sound. Dreadnought. A lot of the characteristics of Dreadnought sound, except a different overtone stack. It's not typical. It's not Martini sounding. It's the high end is attenuated, but in a really cool kind of way, almost a compressed kind of way. I bet this guitar would record really nicely, even though the bass is so huge. Yeah. Now I want to press on to a guitar by a builder that has been sending me guitars for years now. I've been around for, is this my 8th year? I guess it is. Or am I going into my 8th year? I have to take off my shoes to count that, I'm afraid. But anyway, John Datlen is the fellow's name, from American Canyon. And he started off as he's a cabinet guy. He's an interior finishing guy, so he's got a really fine sense of wood. He's been doing wood for years and years. He started years ago, probably 10 years ago, building classical guitars and got quite a nice reputation for building moderately priced, really cool classical guitars. Then he branched off and went into steel. Hugely successful, I think. And I'm not the only one that has that opinion. Jason Newsted from Metallica, that's right. He's a big fan of John's guitars and has bought several of them. Some of them just right on the spot. Jason was in here one day when John came in and wanted to show me a guitar to hang on the wall here. And Jason played it for a second and said, I'll take it. And can you make me one of these and one of these and one of these? And John does custom work too. But this is a Newsted guitar. This is a John Datlen guitar. And I haven't even played it. Just opened the case. We just traded it off here at the shop, all masked up and gloved up. It looked like a drug deal, for God's sake. A couple of lepers out there exchanging something. So here it is. Excuse me, I'll be right with you. It's a 00. How about that? A 00 is about the size of a classical guitar, smaller than a dreadnought by 2 sizes if you use the Martin lingo, and most people do. This is kind of a 00, about the size of a classical guitar, but steel strings. And wow, fiddleback mahogany, back and sides. Holy smokes, look at that. Am I getting a good picture here? Let me check and see. Waiting, come on, Coil. Yeah, you can see that. I'll move in a little closer. Check it out. And I think, what, an Engelmann top here? Some kind of Euro spruce. Check my notes here. Oh, and John printed up a sheet for me. Big print. Thank you, John. You know who you're dealing with. 00, 14 fret, Engelmann spruce, fiddleback mahogany, Macassar ebony fretboard, East Indian rosewood bindings, Schertler open gear tuners. Very nice. 25.4 scale length, 1 3/4 at the nut, 2 1/4 string spacing. Very 00-ish. And this, he warned me it was not tuned, and he was right. While I'm tuning it, go ahead and tune up with me. A little higher, there it is. Brand new strings, oh boy. For all the good and bad things about them. And yes, you know, I am selling guitars still. It's just quite remarkable. Sometimes people buy guitars right off the website, which is kind of goofy. I'm still not accustomed to that. I wanted to sell some t-shirts last year, some logo, Mighty Fine Guitars logo t-shirts. And so I put them up on the site and I said, yes, you know, hook it up to this credit card thing and that thing. It made everything on the site available directly off the site, all the guitars included. Ooh, nice. Big sound out of a little guitar. A lot of folks would call this a parlor guitar. I wouldn't, because I'm a nerd. And I know that for guitar nerds, parlor is a Martin term that is anything smaller than an O. And an O is a size smaller than this, and parlors are smaller than that. But for a lot of people, anything smaller than the dreadnought they went to college with, the jumbo that they've been playing since they were in high school, anything's a parlor if it ain't that big. But it just ain't so. This is a 00. My Alpha guitar is a 00. I love this size. If you've got any sort of shoulder impingements or elbow stuff going on from either playing guitar or tennis or fly fishing or repetitive stress injuries, a smaller guitar would probably mean you'll play more guitar, even though you grew up with that dreadnought. You've always fallen in love with the big jumbos, you know. A smaller guitar, sometimes even with a wedge or a bevel, can really improve your guitar playing because you spend more time behind the guitar. The trick, I think, is really to remove impediments to playing guitars. Now, the first and worst impediment to playing guitar, by my lights, and I'm glad you asked, is the case, is that damn case. If there aren't big dogs or small kids in your house, let me suggest getting rid of the case and putting your guitar up on a stand or up on the wall like this. Excuse me. Where it's easy to get to. That makes all the difference. If you have to go into the spare bedroom, the kids are away to college, into the spare bedroom, into the closet, unlock the guitar, take the guitar case out, unlock it, all that stuff, and then reverse that procedure, who's going to do that? But if the guitar is out, you'll play it. I have spoken. Big damn guitar, wow. And ready for yet more tuning. Aha. Different gear ratio on these tuners than I'm accustomed to. Kind of old style here. Shirtler open back. Kind of a nice retro feature. Oh, I love that low end. Sometimes on a small guitar you don't get all of the low end that you're looking for out of a guitar, but holy smokes. And I'm a little surprised that this is mahogany. It's got a lot of sustain. Instead of having a quick attack and a quick decay that's kind of more typical of mahogany, this actually has a little bit of rosewood in there. Has a little bit of that flavor, a little bit of that swirly, reverberant sort of sound. Really nice dynamic control too. You can kind of pull back and not lose everything. It Major 7th violation on the play. There's a flag down, folks. Lovely guitar by John Datlen. $5,750 is he asking on this one. What do we got for the Carmel over here is $4,800. Two guitars of many here in the shop. Take a look at the website. There's all kinds of stuff up there, and one I have to pull down actually because it's no longer for sale. The the Gurion is no longer for sale, and the door is no longer for sale. The door we featured last week, out the window, out the door rather, not out the window. No, out the door. Different turn of phrase altogether. Let me catch up with your comments and questions here. I'm remiss. And then I will sign right off. Matt, it's standard depth. That's standard depth for a double O. Doesn't it sound huge? I agree completely. Hi, Jim. Oh, that little tune, that was just a riff on a tune that I wrote called Salt Flat Rhapsody. Thanks for asking, Bunny. That was not even the melody. I didn't even get around to playing the melody. That was just kind of improv-y, riffy stuff. Yeah, Michael Cunha, leave them pups out and about. I agree completely. You bet. You bet. If you can. Even if it's in that spare bedroom, rather than having it, a lot of people think, I need to leave it in the case. Depends on where you live. If you're in a place with low humidity, or you're in a place where you have to have the air conditioning and the heating on all the time, then you might want to case your guitar more frequently. But as often as possible, especially here in the Bay Area, where things hover in a very comfortable sort of range, at least this side, west of the Altamont Pass, where humidity stays fairly constant, leave the guitar out and play it, is my recommendation. Case it if you need to. One of the big problems I see with guitars in here, and we've had a couple of real bad cases of over-humidification of guitars, which is just quite awful. People get these really sophisticated cases that are hermetically sealed, and they seal them in with tons of moisture in there on some sort of device humidifier. Ay. So unfortunate, because then we need to kind of scrape the mold off and the mildew, and it's a whole procedure that's very unpleasant. The Datlen, Matt, the Datlen is 25.4, kind of on it's a long scale and 14 fret. Hey, Tom Holtman, you lucky dog, you. Nice to see you. Ask Tom Holtman what he thinks of a double O guitar. Ask the man who owns one, as the dog used to say, or somebody did. Was that Oldsmobile? I don't think that was RCA Victor. I think it was Oldsmobile. Hey, Ariella. Ariella, are you back at home? We'll chat afterwards. I want to know how things are going with you at your place up there in the Santa Cruz Mountains. Evie Layden, you flatter me. You old flatterer, you. Robert Plant? No. This actually isn't hair. These are nerve endings. It's just come to this with all that's going on in the world. Hey, Steve Kahn. Nice to see you. Hey, Mary Flower. Nice to see you as well. Mary, I was just featuring a couple of guitars here, a big old dreadnought and a little double O that's kind of more our style. Mary Flower is a wonderful finger picker, folks. If you're not hip to Mary, she does a show, at least for a while, she's going to be doing a show on Mondays called Blue Monday at 1:30 Pacific time. And she's really terrific. You can go back, hit her page, and roll back to any Monday you like, and you'll see her playing either solo, really great, or with her band, the Barbecue Boys. And each one is more fun than the next, so just keep going, and you'll have more fun than you know what to do with. Yeah, that's a nice guitar, man alive. Kind of an open C profile on the back here. You know, instead of it being kind of roundy, it's kind of a bit of an open C, which makes the fingerboard feel like a platform and really solid. I like it. I haven't played an open C in quite a while. Not an open C tuning, an open C profile. There's D tuning where the edges of the neck are really kind of sharp and D-shaped, squarish. There's a closed C, like that. And then this one is a bit more open, like this. There's not a lot of lip coming back around here on top of the fingerboard. It's kind of a straight shot up to the fingerboard. Nice. Cool guitar. really responsive. It is mahogany. It is mahogany. It's really quick off the top. There's no kind of microsecond delay like you sometimes get with rosewood guitars, where there's just a fraction of a second before the note generates, before the envelope flows out of the guitar, flows off the top of the guitar. This is really quick. This is mahogany. But there's some depth to it as well. It's not got that kind of flat blue, and this is not a pejorative term. A lot of bluegrassers like mahogany because it's got a kind of a flat tone to it. It's all kind of fundamental, and it's quick off the top and it dies off quick, and then you're ready for the next note. So if you're playing a bunch of notes, one in succession after the other really quickly, or chords where they're all saturated, you want that stuff to come out quick, and because you're competing with the damn banjo and the fiddle and the mandolin, all of which are louder than your guitar. But this being a smaller guitar and this fiddleback mahogany, which is just preposterously gorgeous. Can you see? And as a guitarist, as you know, I always like seeing what's happening right here. And John has given you some beautiful fiddleback mahogany right there. You bet. Mahogany neck, Macassar ebony on the fingerboard. I think that's probably some rosewood back there to flesh out the back of the headstock. Yeah, East Indian rosewood bindings. Yeah, rosewood bindings, and it's just quite fantastic. Really elegant. Look at that. Simple and sweet and just right. And as I've mentioned over and over, I'm a big 00 fan myself. I'm 6'3", but I like a guitar that I feel like I'm wearing it and it's not wearing me. Love it. Just love it. Two lovely guitars today. A Datlen 00 and a Carmel Dreadnought. Just two of the many fine guitars you'll find here at Mighty Fine Guitars. Just take the Caldecott Tunnel and then take the Slauson cutoff and cut off your Slauson and show up at Mighty Fine Guitars. We're right off the Highway 24 in Bucolic, Lafayette. Highway 24 is that, it's that highway that runs between Oakland and Walnut Creek. And that's it. It's just that much. Three towns along there, Orinda, kind of Moraga around the corner, Lafayette, and then at the very end of it is Walnut Creek. So I'm about a mile off the freeway, 200 yards off the BART line, if you're still taking BART. I know I'm not. Maybe never mind. But I'll meet you here at the shop. If you want to see any of the guitars here, be glad to meet you here. We'll sit out on I'll bring guitars out to you. You can sit outside on the beautiful picnic tables that are out there. I'll bring guitar after guitar after guitar out to you to play. I'll bring them back in, stick them in the corner for any microbes that may have gotten picked up outside there to die off for 3 days, and play another one. If you love one, you buy it. If you don't, you go away. No harm, no foul. If you don't live in the area and can't drop by that way, then what you can do is contact me. Just Stevie at mightyfineguitars.com. We're here on Facebook. And we'll work out a thing where I'll send you the guitar. If you love it, you pay for it. If you don't, you send it back and just pay shipping both ways. That's the way that's done. And that's happening too. Hence all of these shipping boxes floating around the joint. There are ways and there are ways. Just because you can't go out doesn't mean you can't have a guitar delivered to you. It feels extra special good, I must say, because it happened to me once. All right, kids, that's it for today. Your old pal Stevie Coyle here, signing off from Mighty Fine Guitars in Lafayette, California. Tune me in for shows on, let's see the next one. Boy, oh my, mighty smoky out there today. Next show is Monday night at 7:30 p.m., just on the Stevie Coyle page here on Facebook and on YouTube as well, on my channel on YouTube. And then I'm going to be doing a show for Greg McQuaid. Greg and Renee were DJs on KFOG, a local radio station here in the Bay Area. Fantastic area-wide, Bay Area-wide radio station years ago. These were two of the jocks, and they put on a wonderful series of online shows. I'm going to be doing one of those with Jimbo Scott on the 13th of this month, and I'll be doing a show for Devil Mountain Coffee House as well. Glenn Houston and I are the Quitters, and we're doing shows on the 12th and 27th, I believe, online here. So stay tuned. I'll put all of this stuff up on all the pages, and you can hear either solo stuff if you like, or duo stuff with me and Glenn. And I'm so looking forward to those. I miss playing with that guy so much. And these are going to be the last shows for quite a while, because Glenn is going to have his shoulder fixed, and he's going to be out of commission for months on end. So make your decisions accordingly. Thanks for tuning in. Stevie Coyle. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, kids. Push the button, Stevie. Push the button.